What's up, guys? It's Connor and Tanner here with Straight 6 Archery. The day has come. Brand new Hoyts in Straight 6 Archery. We are unbelievably stoked about this, guys. We got the brand new Alpha X. We have the 30-inch one right here and the RX-8. So let's dive into this, guys. Lots of changes here, especially on the aluminum side. Things have gotten a lot more efficient. We're looking at better weight. We're looking at better performance, improved geometry, lots more cuts in these risers, which is sweet. So we've lightened them up quite a bit, which is a really big thing for me. We have some new quiver mounts inside of these guys. So if you've used a Hoyt quiver before, they're new ones. They have that long bar. They're now pushed inside that outside part of your riser, or inside part of your riser, I guess. So it's pushed in, so less of that bar is going to stick out, keeping things more in line, which is always something that we really want to do. Their accessories synergize so well, it's really, really important. They've basically redone these bows from the ground up. So we are saving about a 1/4 pound on each one of these aluminum bows, which is going to make a really big difference. I think Tanner said it before, if you don't like a lighter bow, what's wrong with you? How could you not like it? We also have a brand new cam in these bows. We'll get into that a little bit more in the future. Like I said, quiver mounts are awesome. New roller guard, which is going to be super sweet. Should just make things a little bit more efficient. Something tuning guys are going to really enjoy a lot more. Thinner grip as well. So some of you guys have said that you don't like the fatter grips on the Hoyts. They've now slimmed that down a little bit, which should be super nice. So I think that's going to be really, really good. A little bit shorter limb pocket. And then the big change that we loved last year was the drop cord slot. They actually made that a little bit wider this time, or longer. So there's more room for your cord to go in there. That way you're not touching riser, which is great. Really happy about that. And those of you guys who do use the Garmin Zero sights, I think they're Zeros, they're illegal in Montana, so we don't really sell them here, but they actually have a slot now where you can run those cords through, so they're not tangling up on the outside of your bow, which is sweet. And then, of course, the new Ghost Sticks mount, which we'll do a whole video about Ghost Sticks. There's too many changes to list right now. But that's most of the changes for the Alpha X there. How about that RX-8?
RX-8, another great bow from Hoyt. That we are super happy about this thing. We've shot it a couple times over there. Not as many updates to the RX-8 as to the Alpha X, but there is a few. Very similar riser design. We'll start at the top. This one has a new limb, little bit shorter limb, a new improved limb pocket. That's another great feature. The whole shot V2. Before they just had the whole shot, so they didn't have the V2, which is this little piece right here. Improved tuning, variable limb deflection. That's a thing that, for tuning wise, not a lot of guys out there get into that stuff, but in a bow shop and what we do in here, that's a big deal. Changing the limb deflection. They used to come with just one limb deflection. All 4 limbs had the same deflection. Now they got some different deflections in there to make the tuning a little bit easier. Also, they have improved the shim system in both the RX-8 and the Alpha X. They are now, instead of being a plastic shim, they're an aluminum shim, and they're color coded. There's 3 different sizes, and it's a super simple system to use. It's very easy. Also, one big change that we didn't mention here is the new axles on the RX-8 and the Alpha X. Instead of having a E-clip and a paper washer outside on the outside, now this has a Allen screw on the front and the back, or on both sides, I should say, that you just unscrew, take it out, put it back in, screw it back together. No more E-clips flying across the room. No more paper washers breaking or losing or whatever might happen to them. So it's just a super easy, huge improvement, but very little. But it's a huge improvement that makes our lives and your lives much easier. Also a new beefier axle to go with that limb screw on the outside on both of these bows. Yep. On the Venoms, the VTMs, the RX-7s, the axle wasn't quite as stout as this one, and sometimes you'd see those limbs start to tip in just a little bit. They beefed up these axles, so it eliminated that. Yep. Again, another tuning feature that makes these bows tune just better than they ever have. Moving down the RX-8, still the same old pick mount, integrate rest mount. The SL sidebar mount is down here in the same spot. The big change they made with the RX-8 is with the Ghost Sticks. Again, we're going to get into a video with these Ghost Sticks because it deserves its own video because there's so much change with it. But they have added a bolt down here at the side, or at the bottom of these Ghost Sticks, which is going to help this thing from tipping. These Ghost Sticks aren't going to tip, so if your Ghost Sticks get off a little bit, like they did, like with the other ones, if you got off a little bit, your bow would tip over. It's not going to happen with this one. So some huge improvements. And I would say probably the biggest improvement is the cam.
Cam is massive.
It's a huge improvement. Connor's going to get in some of that stuff. This is a lot.
Yep. So, like you said, there's a ton with the cams. So, number one, really big change for a lot of you guys who get nitpicky with draw length. We now have 1/4 inch draw length adjustments. I think that's massive. Really lets you customize the bow to yourself, which is just phenomenal. You can't go wrong with that. We also have 3 different mod sizes. So this really matters to you guys with shorter draw lengths. There's now 1 mod for the short end of these bows that's going to accommodate roughly about 1 inch of draw length, and that is extremely good for performance in these bows.
Sorry to interrupt, but Connor mentioned in the beginning of this bow when he was going over the intro for this thing was the efficiency. The 3 mod system is where they tackled that, I think, with the efficiency.
Absolutely.
So now the shorter draw length guys, or like even the longer draw length guys, like if you're at a 29 inch on the older bows, you're coming in right at the bottom of that mod. Now you got 3 different mods that's going to make this thing much more efficient for you, which is going to improve speed. It's going to improve everything about it. The next big thing is the back wall options. They call it the X hard or the hard. We're going to call it hard and soft just to be easy. But they now have stops on the ends of these mods that you can change how the back wall feels. You can either feel really super hard, or if you like a little bit of sponge, you can make it feel like that as well. Very easy to do. Take this top one, put it on the bottom, take the bottom one, put it on the top.
Super simple.
Super simple. Another thing that goes on with this is the let off. They used to have 85 and 80. Now you can go 75, 80, or 85%. So you guys that like that lower let off, they've brought that down for you guys.
Which is great. Which is great. Another change with them, this really kind of goes in with the Ghost Sticks a little bit, but there's now a extra little piece on top of your cam, on the top and the bottom, of course. That is called the kickstand. There's a little piece of rubber on the outside. So one big gripe with these Ghost Sticks before is when you put them down, your cam is in the dirt. So now your cam isn't going to be in the dirt in the string track. There's going to be a little stopper that's going to keep that from happening, which is very, very nice. I'm super happy about that. And really, you know, we always hear this every year from every company. This new cam is smoother and faster. I'm tired of hearing it. They're showing it. These bows, I'm not sure if you felt the same way. They do feel smoother than the standard HBX cam, and they are faster.
Yeah, they do feel smoother, and I think it's still in that HBX line of the smoothest cam that Hoyt has ever made. But I'd say they feel different.
They do.
The HBX Pro and the HBX, they would stack a little bit in the front, so you'd have to really get after it in the beginning, then it would kind of fall into the back wall. These ones are a little bit different. It kind of stacks in a different spot, but still a super smooth cam. Really, really great stuff.
With those mods as well, with their adjustments, they now, instead of just having 2 bolts, there's actually going to be 3 bolts seating your mod to your cam, which is going to be really nice. You know, if there were ever instances where, you know, if you have an HBX or an HBX Pro cam, if one of those mods was a little loose, it could kind of snap out of there. They now have a screw in here that they're kind of calling the lock boss, where essentially it's a set position for one of those screws to go where it can only go in one of these holes, and the other 2 will kind of be loose and let that mod slide a little bit. That really helps to seat things down correctly, which I was very happy with for sure.
And then I'll get into also, before Connor gets going on the next thing, same side draw length adjustment. Before on the HBX cam, you had to hold the cam underneath the limb and look through and see the little window that had your letter. Now everything is on the same side. You just look at it, the letters are on the same side, the screws are on the same side, everything's on the same side. So you don't have to hold it under or flip it and put it under, everything's on the same side. Made it really super simple.
If you manage to mess it up, you're just not doing it right. That's pretty simple. So that's really, really good. Another thing here too with both of these bows, if you're a straight 6 customer, I'm sure you've had to come in to probably get a limb shock put back in your bow because they, you know, sometimes they walk off on the counters here when we're setting up your bows. They're gone now. We don't even need them. And the bows have gotten quieter. So with
they
that
got rid of them
RX-8
both.
too.
They got rid of them both. With that one, they got rid of the shock pods on the side. So it's going to reduce a little weight, but they don't need them now. They're that much quieter where they can get rid of stuff like this and make little changes and get rid of some weight where it's not needed.
Which is really, really awesome. So we're going to dive over into some chrono speeds with both of these bows. We'll kind of see what they're shooting with like a little bit standard arrow and more of a hunting arrow that most of our customers go with. We'll kind of see how these speeds are lining up with one another, and we'll come back over here and give you our final thoughts.
All right, guys, we're over here at the Chrono with the Carbon RX-8. Have a look at that logo. Nice and clean. We have a wilderness green. This thing is really awesome. We're going to shoot this bow through the Chrono. We got these set at 29 inches and 65 pounds, this one and the Alpha X. We got them sent to us at 65 pounds. We don't have a 70-pound bow, so this is what we're going to test them at. When we get our 70-pound bows, we're going to chrono those with these 2 same arrows, and we're going to throw that in the description. But we're going to start with this Hunter XT 340 at 410 grains, and we're going to shoot this through the chrono a couple times and see what we get. All right, here we go. Shot 1. All right, so we got 294 with that one. Now we got a RIP TKO 300 at 460 grains. So about 50 grains heavier, which I think is a typical hunting weight that we set all our guys up with here. A lot of us in the shop shoot right around that. So we got 280 with a 460 grain arrow out of a 65-pound bow. That is pretty good. All right, next we'll move on to the Alpha X. Look at that, nice clean graphics just like on the RX-8. Bourbon and black limbs. And we're gonna throw a, again, 29 inches and 65 pounds. We're gonna throw a 410 grain arrow through this one as well. Okay, we're at 288 with that one. Now we got a 460 grain RIP TKO. .275. So pretty good speeds with that weight of an arrow out of a 65-pound bow and at 29 inches. So we are going to hop back over to the desk. We're going to give our final thoughts on this bow, give some, maybe some specs and stuff like that, but we'll see you back over there. Hey guys, we just got back from the Chrono, and wow, these things have some really great speeds.
Yep.
I'm super impressed with them.
Same here.
So we're going to finish up here with some results and what we think of these things, and also just what Hoyt has tackled and what they've come up with in their final product.
Yep.
It's the most efficient bow they've ever produced.
We've
We've talked about the draw cycle. It's the smoothest draw cycle they've ever produced with. So smooth draw cycle with increased velocity, when you pair those together, that's an amazing thing. Like,
Yep.
It doesn't happen. Better sound, better vibration. They've got rid of that. It's quieter. It doesn't vibrate as much. Both of them, they've done that. That's a huge thing for me, and I'm sure it's a huge thing for a lot of you guys out there. If your bow's quiet, you're confident.
Yep.
Like, I take a quiet bow into the woods, and I feel really, really good.
Yep.
Yeah. So with the RX-8, we're talking about the quietness and what they did to reduce vibration. They up to a 40% reduction in vibration, which is I don't know how they do that, but they did it, and it's noticeable. When we're shooting them over there, you can notice it big time. And same with the sound, 40% reduction in sound. That's a solid number that they put on here. It's 40%. They made it 40% quieter than the RX-7. So
Yep.
Just great stuff, and I'm super excited about them.
Yep. And with the Alpha X8 or Alpha X as well, you can definitely hear some differences and feel some differences too. So we're thinking it's roughly about a 5 to 10% reduction in vibration, which if you shot the VTMs, you know they were already pretty dead in the hand. It's a little bit more dead than that, which, you know, it's getting kind of ridiculous at this point. And then up to a 30% reduction in sound. Another just ridiculous number for that. We always like seeing bows get quieter, as Tanner said. It's an awesome, awesome feature. And what's gonna help you get there is using the inline accessories with Hoyt. You really can't go wrong with them. This is the way that you're really gonna customize your experience with these bows. We can't hammer that enough. Their inline systems here are just too good to be true. Keeping weight off the side of your bow really helps balance it out a lot, and then just keeping weight off the bow in general. Everything being lighter, once again, it's too good to have. We gotta have it, and I'm really, really happy with what Hoyt's done here.
Yeah, and so these bows both come in about 30 inches of axle length. This one's 30 and 9/16. I think that one's very similar, but they have tackled axle to axle length and string angle by changing this cam. So when this cam is at full draw, or when the bow's at full draw, this thing's going to feel like it's about an inch longer of a bow, which means that you're not going to have as steep of a string angle, which is going to be more comfortable to shoot. So over with the VTM 31 and the Alpha X30, like it feels different. like very similar platforms, a little bit improved design.
Yep.
But the Alpha X and the RX-8, they've improved that string angle, which is a big deal.
Yep.
A lot of people like that. You don't want to be dipping down into your string and feeling like you're really having to dip down into it. It's just, I mean, it's really great stuff.
Yep, yep. And as we said before, these are in at 65 pounds right now. So once we get the 70-pound bows, we are going to update our chrono speeds down in either the comments or the description. So make sure you've liked, you're subscribed, and you got that bell icon hit. That way you know as soon as these things drop. We want to keep you guys posted with the most up-to-date knowledge that we can. That's the way to get it as fast as possible. So we'll keep you guys posted on all that stuff.
Get in here and shoot these things, man. Come in here and watch, and shoot them. Get your hands on them. Check them out. Again, thanks for watching.
We'll see you.